Hi, this is Stephen. This week there is a survey or questionnaire at send7.org. This survey is to help us to know who is listening to Send7 and how to make it better. It only takes 5 minutes to complete, and one person who completes it will win a €50 Amazon voucher, and 3 other people will receive Send7 coffee mugs. You can find it at send7.org. Thank you. Good morning. This is Send7 World News in 7 minutes. I'm Stephen Devincenzi. Today is Tuesday, the 8th of October, 2024. Starting in Africa today. In Tunisia, President Kais Saied has won a second term, winning 91% of votes in Sunday's election, according to the election authority. However, the authority also said that less than 28% of people voted. Many parties and people boycotted the elections, saying that they weren't free or fair. Most people who wanted to stand as candidates were not allowed to, and human rights organisations said that opposition politicians were oppressed. In Ethiopia, the president was replaced yesterday. Sahle-Work Zewde was the first female head of state in Ethiopia. However, most media says that she fell out with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. In Ethiopia, the Prime Minister holds most power. Yesterday, Ethiopia's parliament appointed Haile Selassie as president. Asia. Israel's army has said it hit 120 Hezbollah sites in Lebanon with airstrikes yesterday. One strike killed 10 Lebanese firefighters, according to the health ministry. Israel's military yesterday told Lebanese civilians not to go to Lebanon's beaches or go on boats because Israel's navy would be operating against Hezbollah along the coast. Hezbollah rockets also hit the Israeli cities of Haifa and Tiberias. Despite a year of war in Gaza, Hamas yesterday fired rockets from Gaza that landed in Tel Aviv. A ballistic missile shot by Yemen's Houthis at Israel was shot down. There were ceremonies in Israel and around the world yesterday to mark 1 year since the Hamas massacres of Israelis on October the 7th last year. Sharon Calderon's relatives, that were 80 and 12, were killed by Hamas, and her brother, Ofer Calderon, who is 50, is still being kept hostage in Gaza. Sharon was at a rally in Paris yesterday.
Every day for the last year, we are doing something. If it's demonstrate or appointments and interviews and elections, and we're doing wherever we can because we have to bring them back home.
There were also services in Thailand yesterday. Hamas killed 41 Thai farm workers on October the 7th last year and took 30 as hostages, of which 6 are still being held. Speaking in Parliament yesterday, the United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer called for a ceasefire and demanded the release of all hostages, including the British citizen Emily Damari, who was kidnapped from a village.
Today we mark a year since the horrific attack on Israel by the terrorists of Hamas. It was the bloodiest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust, a day of sorrow, a day of grief. Over 1,000 people were massacred, hundreds taken hostage, in an attack born of hatred, targeted not just at individuals, but at Jewish communities, at their way of life, and at the State of Israel, the symbol of Jewish security to the world. We can hardly imagine what hostages like Emily are going through. The human toll amongst innocent civilians in Gaza is truly devastating. Over 41,000 Palestinians have been killed, tens of thousands orphaned, almost 2 million displaced.
In Thailand, over 100 elephants have been evacuated from a popular elephant sanctuary in Thailand's second biggest city, Chiang Mai, because of floods. Elephants have also been used to help rescue people trapped in their homes by floods. In Pakistan, the Chinese embassy has said that 2 Chinese nationals were killed in a terrorist attack on Sunday night. The separatist Balochistan Liberation Army has claimed responsibility. The BLA often targets Chinese people, as they say that China is exploiting Balochistan without giving wealth to Balochi people. Americas. In the United States, the state of Florida is preparing itself for Hurricane Milton, which is expected to reach Florida tomorrow, less than 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene killed over 200 people in the US. Yesterday, Milton was gaining in strength over Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Also in Mexico, the mayor of the biggest city in Guerrero state has been killed, according to the state governor. Alejandro Arcos had only been the mayor of Chilpancingo for 6 days. Guerrero is one of the most dangerous states in Mexico, with one of the highest murder rates. Argentinian President Javier Milei has been accused of plagiarizing a part of his United Nations speech from the television show The West Wing. The Buenos Aires newspaper, Página 12, found a section of about 40 seconds of Milei's speech at the UN General Assembly 2 weeks ago, which is almost identical to a speech made by the fictional president in The West Wing. Europe. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, rescue operations are continuing after severe floods that have killed at least 21 people over the last few days. Most of the flooding has been in central Bosnia, with smaller floods in Croatia and Montenegro. In Ukraine, the Ukrainian military has hit a large oil storage facility in the occupied region of Crimea. During a visit to Ukraine, the Netherlands Defence Minister Ruben Brekelmans announced that the Netherlands would invest €400 million in developing drone technology with Ukraine. The Russian opposition activist Ildar Dadin has died fighting for Ukraine against the Russian army in Kharkiv region earlier this week. Before joining the Ukrainian military, Dadin spent years in prison in Russia for protesting against the government of Russian President Vladimir Putin. And in Ukraine, more people own dogs than ever before, according to a report by the New York Times. According to psychology professor Katerina Miliotina, dogs have a healing presence and help injured soldiers to readapt to civilian life. A big thank you to Yasmin in Turkey for becoming our newest supporter. If you enjoy this podcast and would like to have access to the transcripts of every episode, our weekly worksheets and world news quiz, you can become a supporter at send7.org. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.